only way you counteract institutional racism is to build power inside your community to counteract it. You cannot counteract it through individual approaches. That means that the knowledge that you acquire here, you must bring back to the black community to benefit that community instead of going to work for IBM, General Motors, or Gulf Oil, or some corporation like that that does not begin to benefit black people, only benefits you and this country, because it helps to perpetuate the lies about a democracy. So that's, I think, one of the major differences between black power and what they call integration. And it's so-called integration because if you knew anything about integration, you would know it's a two-way stream. It's a two-way stream. And I haven't seen any white people fighting to get into your schools from Georgia. I haven't seen any in Mississippi fighting to go. So what they're doing is draining from our communities the best that we have. Because you know in order to go to their schools, we got to send the best representative we have. So they take the very best from our schools and send them over there to sit with their uncivilized children. Their parents throw bricks and bottles at us so we can walk through and sit next to them. Later for the white community, let them civilize themselves. We've got our own problems. That's what you're... In the city of Atlanta, we have advocated a political program in terms of independent politics. The population of this city is 40% black, adult. We can control this city if black people had guts. We would come together and independently organize that force, that 40% force, and while white people were fighting between the Democrat and Republican Party, we would take over this city lock, stock, and barrel. That's black power. That's black power. You ought to recognize how the city lies. When, what's that big-headed fellow's name? Maddox. When Maddox ran against the progressive racist who's now mayor of this city, Ivan Allen, Maddox received more votes in the white community than did Allen. Do you know that? And the Negro leadership of this town told black people to vote for Allen. And it is our votes that put Allen into office. And you call this a progressive town where most of the white people voted for Maddox. And the very first thing that Allen did was to move us out from the Boulevard section and build $1 million stadium and didn't even worry to find houses for us. That's because we are not organized as an independent force to stop the abuses of power that is penetrated upon us. And if we're about to stop them, we must organize ourselves independently. I guess we can stop and go on for questions. McNamara says...
How about you? All right, if I can see some hands.
It is precisely because Dr. Du Bois recognized the humanity of mankind that he gave up on this damn country. It is precisely because he recognized that. And if you are to read Dr. Du Bois' writings after 1904, and you can even start with The Soul of Black Folk, which is 1904, 1905, and 1906, his collective of essays, it shows clearly that he begins to deviate from that conception. He was the man who helped to start the NAACP with the Niagara Convention and left the NAACP over the same ideological questions. It is clear in my mind, it is crystal clear in my mind that what white America wants and her Negro allies is to make black people the moral conscience of this country, and they have no right to do it. This country is immoral. White people made it immoral. It is their job to clean it up. We have to worry about ourselves for a change.
Mr. Carmichael doesn't strengthen his case or anybody else's by saying that he wants to become immoral like other people too, because they are immoral.
No good, baby. I've said very clearly, it is not our job to make America moral, white America. We are to be concerned with us. That is not to say that one imitates onto the level of immorality. It is precisely in the concept of black power that you state black people stop imitating white society, but rather begin to create for themselves, because white society has nothing to offer us. Its entire society is based on what is anti-black, clearly. And that is the trick bag that black people have always followed by trying to imitate white America. That is not to say you stoop to her morality, you forget about her.
I'd really like to ask two questions. First, I'd like to ask Reverend Williams, perhaps I misunderstood what you said. I think I heard you say that the new housing code has been drawn up to cause Negroes to live in one area. And I'd like, did you speak anything, did you say anything about the housing code?
No, I said nothing about a housing code. I said some 10 or more years ago there was a sort of unwritten agreement with certain people in this town that Negroes would live in the West Side.
Oh, okay. And I wanted to ask you also, I thought you said that poverty remains because we lack the will to do something about it. And if you did make that statement, I'd like to ask you to explain this will.
What I said was that this nation is rich enough, it has sufficient technological understanding and know-how to eliminate and to alleviate poverty. The only reason poverty remains with us is that the nation lacks the will, power, to go ahead and do something about it. And all I mean by will, it wants to do it.
And I want to comment about your last questions. I think that Dr. Williams is naively incorrect about his assumptions about poverty. Poverty is well calculated in this country. That is why it exists. This is the richest country in the world. If they wanted to get rid of it, they would. They would. There's a difference between will and calculated, because my next statement is the calculators of poverty run this country. That's the difference. That's the difference. You've got to understand that. That means the people who are rich continue to run this country, and they're not going to turn it over to poor people. There's a difference between will. No, will implies that they really want to, but you know, they're sort of nice guys, but they don't have the umption to do it, see? And calculated means that you have it planned that people stay poor, and that the people who run the country have it planned that way. There's a big difference. Now, I say that is precisely the teachings that America teaches black people. And that for us to begin to have a new concept of ourselves, we must negate all of the teachings that white America has taught about black people. That is number one. You then say, number two, that you move within your own group to organize yourself independently first, and then decide what is it your group wants. Then you can move on. In the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, we feel that the third world is going to be important to relationships around this world, because we don't bite our tongue. We say the United States is the aggressor in Vietnam, and will not only be the aggressor in Vietnam, but will be the aggressor in Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic, South Africa, Ghana, wherever they go. They exploit, rape, and plunder non-white people. Therefore, it is to our advantage to understand outside of the world the relationship then of the non-white world to us, since our philosophy and ideology cannot come from the white world. Our very introduction to this country was that of slavery. We were brought here not for our benefit, for the benefit of white people. The overall economic program of this country in the last 20 years has widened the gap between black people and white people. That means that the overall economic program of this country does not benefit black people, and you can go right on down the line. It just shows that wherever this country has gone, it's moved against us, against us. The war in Vietnam is against us. McNamara says he's going to drag. It is clear to me that he's putting them on the front lines, and that we have to understand the very people who, you know who Spelman was named after, don't you? Well, you know what I think about him, don't you? Well, Rockefeller is the cat who gives a lot of money to this college. You call him a philanthropist. He ain't nothing but a thief. He steals money from South Africa. The Rockefeller Empire controls the Chase Manhattan Bank, which controls the economy of South Africa. And the money that he steals from black people in South Africa, he gives to you, so you can keep your mouth shut. Du Bois said that!
I want to ask Mr. Carmichael a question. He is a very gifted young man at innuendo. He is a very...
One of my problems is that our so-called Negro leaders have never taught nonviolence among us, where it belongs, where it should start. We should begin to learn nonviolence among us. But certainly, Dr. Williams, I do not think you can deny the fact that while most students, especially girls, wear their Nat and Nola cream to look light and bright, it certainly has some psychological effect upon them, that whenever your colleges pick homecoming queens, they're always light, bright, and young. You certainly could not deny the fact that a beautiful woman in this country is someone who has got a thin nose, thin lips, stringy hair, and is white. You certainly cannot deny that. So the opposite of that, which is us, broad nose, thick lips, black with nappy hair, is ugly. And that what you have to do then is to begin to say that white people set the criteria for beauty for the white race. We will define the criteria for beauty for the black race. All right. After having set a definition where black people are not ashamed of themselves, then they can begin to come together. That's what white folk don't want. Dig it? Now, you have them come together as a unified force. See, you're absolutely wrong in your thinking if you think a majority ever rules a country. It is a unified minority. Everybody knows that. And if in Atlanta, Georgia, you got 40% of the people united, you have the largest minority united. The black people in this country represent the largest minority. That's what the real trouble is. We control 100 congressional districts in this country outright by our numbers, and we produce it like rabbits every day. Every day. So that it is crystal clear that by sheer number you have a unified minority. You can control effectively all sorts of political decisions that affect your people as a need, so that you can certainly move then politically. Once you control the politics of your community, you can begin to control the economics. Oh, one other thing is that Dr. Williams just tried to imply, like most white folk do, that, you know, them kids in SNCC, they just yell black power, ain't got no sense. So I just want to read to you some stuff that you don't even read. This comes from what is entitled the 20 largest stockholders' records in member banks of the Federal Reserve System, House of Representatives, Subcommittee on Domestic Finance, Committee on Banking and Currency, Washington, 1964, page. What?
Do you...
I'm sure you wouldn't want to.
I want to ask, do you teach nonviolence?
No. As a matter of fact, we say in SNCC, if a white man try to shoot us, we're going to kill him before God get the news. So we say, if white people don't want to be shot, let them keep their hands off of us. Our black parents made us. No white people don't chastise us. Don't chastise us. No, I do not teach nonviolence.
In regards to...
You don't, first of all, you shouldn't say 10%. I have a thing about that, because I think white folks lie. I know black people more than 10%. I just know it. I just know it. That's right. That's right. I know we more than 10%. Because we in every major city, we in the Army, we in the South, and we still multiplying. We got to be more than 10%. That's the first thing. But secondly, you don't have to be concerned about 10%. You're not asking for this country. You're asking for the right to govern and to rule your community. That's what you're asking. You're asking for white people to stop exploiting you. That's all. So that 10% has nothing to do with it. Don't you believe that people should rule themselves where they live?
Suggests that in many